Provo Beast here doing another install today. Today we're doing a flip-down Alpine DVD screen in this 2016 Toyota Sequoia. What we're going to be doing is replacing the factory dome light here with the DVD player. The unit we decided to go with is this Alpine PKG-RSE 3DVD Alpine unit. Basically, this doesn't have all the bells and whistles like some of the cheaper units out there does, but this brand is really known for quality in their flip-down screens. Now, it does come with two wireless headphones and the remote itself. We've already done an unboxing of this DVD. I'll go ahead and post that link in the description, so go ahead and check that out. First things first, obviously, we're going to have to be cutting into the headliner. Now, as you can see also, we have a sunroof. And so we'll need to make sure our screws and all mounting hardware clear that as that slides back in there. So we'll need to make sure we use a shallow enough screw that it doesn't interfere with anything with the sunroof. Removing this light, we're going to make sure we tap into that wiring so the dome lights on the DVD player also work. And we're going to measure everything out, get it all just right before we actually start cutting. Alright, first things first, we got to remove the dome light. And what I've done, I just got right back behind it. Just started working off the plastic here. Just be gentle. Just with your fingers, you can get that off. Just kind of work it loose slowly. Here it comes. So it's just really held on with clips. So using a panel tool, which I have here, you can go ahead and pop that out, and it should come free. Okay, so I went ahead and just popped those two out, just right down from the ceiling. Give it a little tug, undo the clips in the back. Should come free. So we disconnect that harness. We will need to tap into this harness for our dome light signal to turn on the actual lights on the unit itself. But at least for now, this will be out of the way. Now this will allow us to start measuring from side to side to find the dead center, and using that roof support, find the best location for us to actually mount the plate that comes with the DVD player. Now the plate is what the screen itself mounts to. All right. Okay, so what I've done at this point is I made myself a little cardboard template. I just traced around the actual DVD player itself. And with this light out, I can really find center in using this hole, since this hole where the dome light was is actually center of the car. It really made it easy to kind of help me determine where the right spot would be. So I determined, first of all, how far back I want to go and how far forward. So then I made a little line there, as you can see. And then from the left to the right with this DVD specifically, from the edges, it was 2.5 inches exactly, and that was center for this piece. So at this point, I know exactly where my DVD will be, and that's the spot where I want it to eventually rest. Looking up in here specifically, as you can see here, this is our roof support. Now, moving the sunroof in and out, you can see it move up in there. And what we have in terms of distance, if I can get your little pencil here, we have that far until we hit the sunroof cover, the shade here. So we know our screws cannot exceed or even come close to that length. So that's a good place to start. So what we're going to do here is the actual, probably scariest part of the portion of this install is start cutting the headliner so our mounting plate can fit in that location. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of made a trace of my mounting plate on our cardboard cutout, so I know exactly where it's going to rest once I make a hole where our DVD player is going to sit. So that's kind of my template, so I'm going to use that as my marker of where I'm going to start cutting into the headliner. Alright, using my template, I went ahead and cut exactly where I wanted the mounting plate to be, and as you can see, this is the roof support. This is exactly where we want to mount. Here's our plug for our dome light. We'll eventually tap into, but it's really a perfect location. That's the scary part. Once it's cut, it's kind of a done deal. In the event things don't work out, save your scraps. There are companies out there that actually can repair your headliner using those scraps. So not something to necessarily throw away. Now at this point, we're going to have to remeasure and begin to really plan out exactly where we want that mounting plate to go, just because once it's in there, we want to make sure the DVD screen is straight. Alright, so I went ahead and got my plate up there, and after measuring and measuring and measuring, I think I got it in the spot that I want. And I put these two self-tappers in. What I've used, these short little guys. Pick these up at any hardware store. And I've just got two in there. I'm going to put four in there, kind of in a cross shape, just so I have really good anchorage, but two for now, and I'm going to kind of test fit to make sure that's the exact spot that I really want it. As soon as we find the spot we want, get our other tappers in there, at this point we'll start running wiring through the headliner, down the B-pillar, and we're going to tap into positive, negative, and an ignition wire, and I'll show you exactly what type of wire we picked up for that cause. Alright, so I only have two self-tappers in there, and I only have two screws in there, but I really wanted to see the fitment and the centering of where my plate was, so I don't have to make any further adjustments once I fully mount it. Looks good, nice and center. I double checked the spacing on the back, it's nice and even. It visually looks center in the middle of the car. So we're going to go ahead and leave that there. I'm going to pull the screen back down. We're going to put two more self-tappers in there, make sure everything's nice and tight. And from this point forward, we're going to start running wiring. Alright, so here are harnesses that came with the Alpine. We have if you look closely at these, we have AV inputs. So in case we have a signal, for example, coming from another player, whether it's an in-dash DVD player up front or whatnot, that's what you would use. Now this little guy is a remote in and a remote out. There's a little antenna. And then this guy is our video output. So in case we want to show this on another screen, since this unit itself has a built-in DVD player, we can, and you can use that. Also, in addition, you can use these audio outputs in case you have another place. If the radio's aftermarket, you can use this and run a pair of RCAs so you have a hardline connection for audio. You run those RCAs up to your aftermarket radio. Totally up to you. Now, what we're going to focus on here at the moment is, this is our main power harness. It is fused with a 5-amp fuse. We have positive, we have negative. The red is our ignition wire, which we'll need to tap into a switch source, so when the key is on, the screen will turn on. And then this is our door dome light indicator, and basically this can either be connected into the positive or the negative depending on your application. Now your instructions will allow you to switch back and forth between the two depending on the vehicle. Some have a negative trigger, some have a positive trigger when the door is open and shut. We will let you know exactly which one in this car this one will be set to. So that's our main wiring harness. Now to extend those wires, we've picked up some 3-conductor wire. This is some parallel wire. We picked up about 25 feet worth. Is about 16 or so gauge. Black and yellow will correspond to the black and yellow there. This green will actually hook into the red because I couldn't find one that was red, yellow, and black. That would have been nice, but we don't. Okay, so we're going to run this wire from our hole that we've cut through the headliner, down the B-pillar on the driver's side, and we're going to work our way up to behind the radio, just because we're going to use that source to help really eliminate ground loop noise. Okay, at this point we're going to take apart the B-pillar cover so we can run cabling. You got to be super careful, because if you look up in there, got the airbag, so you don't want to interfere with that whatsoever. We're going to pop this off just to be safe. So I'm popping these little covers off. There's two 10 mils. Go ahead and remove that, and the rest are held on with clips. Alright, so after popping that out, I got a little bit of space here. I don't want to take it completely apart, and these are just held on with clips. That just provided enough space where I can run cabling straight down the B-pillar. Now using a key hanger, and it comes out this end, I'm going to fish wire through, and then I'm going to ensure it comes out right there. I'm going to move it over away from the airbag, work my way down to the lower part of the car. I fish the wire up and through. If you have to go around the airbag, make sure you go up and over it. We're going to run this now down and work our way up to the front. These panels just pop off with clips. Should be pretty simple. Alright, so we got the pillar all back together. Down here, run the wire along the factory loom. And now, at this point, we're going to tap into power for the screen behind the radio itself. The screen itself only pulls 5 amps maximum, so we should be okay using that as a power source location behind the dash. Now, in the event you don't want to do that, you can always tap into the fuse box. There's power here in the kick panel, but to find all the power necessary, we're going to go ahead and actually pull the radio. All right, here we are on the other side of the truck. What we're going to do is pull the radio so we can tap into power, ground, ignition, basically setting us up for the right sources needed for the flip down DVD screen. Now, in order to get this out, we need to pop this a little bit loose. This needs to pop a little bit loose. This comes out here. HVAC controls then pop out, exposing 2, 3, 4 screws, and that will come out eventually. Okay, just using a panel tool, I got just right here on this seam. It just popped it loose, as you can see here. They're just clips that hold it on. It's a much larger piece. You don't have to pull out all the gauge trim. You can just leave that there as that sits, just so it clears. Now, next thing here, this little pocket will pop out. Just giving it a good little tug. All just clips here. Make sure the clips stay within the actual things. These have a tendency of falling out. Same thing with the AC control. Just kind of give them a little tug. Be gentle here. And take your time. I mean, it's all held on with clips all around. So I'm going to put the camera down so I can pop the last side here. All right. Once that's out and free, and then just set that off to the side. Don't have to undo anything at all. Just leave it as is. And then it'll expose 1, 2, 3, 4, which will allow us to pull the radio. Then from the radio, once the radio's out, we can get to the wiring behind the back and get everything plumbed up. Okay, so I've removed 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Now at this point, you can just kind of give it just a tug. Be super, super gentle. Doesn't need a whole lot, but it'll come right on out. Now once the radio's out, there's a few harnesses we need here on the back. I'll go ahead and get those located and show you where to connect. Okay, with the radio pulled out, the harness that we're most interested in is this one to the very right. Now, the white with a black stripe is our ground. This solid blue right here in the corner where my finger is, that is constant on all the time, which will connect to our yellow wire. And then this gray one is our switch. It's only on when the key's on. So that's what we're going to tap into. Those 3 wires. Now you can use T-taps. You can strip the wire and solder. You can cut the wire and use butt connectors. It's up to you. Just ensure that your connections are good so you do not cause any fire or issue with this setup. So go ahead and do so. I'm going to show you how to connect to those wires and go from that point. Okay, so since we're ready to run our cabling up to the radio itself, we left off kind of at this point, and what we've done is run it up along. Now you can go underneath the carpet or up underneath the dash, whatever works best for you. I went way deep under the carpet and came up there as well. And then just using a hanger, I fished the wire through. Now it may take a little bit of time and some patience. Totally doable though. So we went ahead and pulled our wire through. We have quite a bit of extra. We'll just trim it down to size. But at this point, we're good to go to put the rest of the kick panels back together. Okay, so here on our wiring harness, I went ahead and I chose the T-tap route so I wouldn't actually have to cut or solder. Totally up to you. Like I said, there's pros and cons to everything. The way you actually connect wires to this T-tap method is pretty uninvasive. A lot of people would argue this is not the best connection, but you should solder. I'm going to totally leave that up to you. We've chosen this method. I have cut and stripped these wires back, and I'm going to crimp on these little spade connectors. And those spade connectors plug right into those T-taps. Really making it easy to plug and unplug these connections from our factory radio. Alright, at this point, got our T-taps on. Just crimp these spade connectors on. Positive, ground, ignition. Good to go. Now at this point, I'll plug this back in, get the dash back together. I verified in the back that we have continuity, so we are good with that portion. Next, after we get the dash all back together, we're going to get our DVD player mounted. Okay, got the radio back in. I'll just reverse order getting the dash all put back together. Alright, so I got the front dash all put back together. At this point, we have our line coming in from the dash using butt connectors. It goes to the harness that plugs into our new DVD player. Now the green guys are dome light wire, and our dome light wire, it's a negative trigger, and so you connect that using another T-tap to the pink wire. And so when the door, it's only grounded when the door is open, and when the door is shut, it has a 12-volt charge. So we set our DVD screen to turn the dome lights on when this is negative, if that makes sense. So that's all hooked up here. This will all just tuck up into the headliner. This will plug in, and at this point, we're ready to mount the DVD player. Alright, we went ahead and plugged in that wiring harness and used the 4 mounting screws to mount into the plate. I'll kind of give you a little test here. When I shut the door here, you can use our front lights up here as a reference. But you'll see those go out. Let me get rid of this light here. There you go. Oh, there you go. Open up the door. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Alright. Got the new screen all installed. Okay, that's it. Basically all you have to do is now program frequency to your radio, to your screen, and you're good to go. If you have any questions about this install, just go ahead and post a comment below. Thanks guys for watching the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.